My name's Kester from Active Health Clinic, and I thought I'd just put a quick video to explain basically the benefits of forward planning when it comes to managing an invisible illness. So basically, I'm an exercise physiologist and I work at Active Health Clinic, so I support people with their invisible illnesses, chronic fatigue syndrome, iron POTS, and a lot of the time, especially when it's kind of been a recent diagnosis, people come in and they're telling me that they do notice that kind of boom and bust pattern where they feel okay and they engage in activity and perhaps they try to do more because they're not sure when they're going to feel good again, and so they try and go, okay, I'm feeling good today, so let's try and do as much as I can because I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to do this again. But what happens is, we know with these conditions, overexertion can cause post-exertion malaise, where symptoms flare up in response to overexertion, and so people do too much activity, and then the aftermath is that bust, that crash where they feel worse. And kind of intuitively it makes sense, and I completely understand why that's the case, of people going, I feel good, so let's try and get as much as I can done. And sometimes just this kind of simple bit of information can be really helpful when people learn that perhaps a different way to do things is to kind of balance your activity, and rather than kind of squishing as much in as you can, you try to have a bit of more of an even spread, because that post-exertion malaise, that is the kind of defining characteristic of these conditions where symptoms get worse due to overexertion. So that's why pacing is really important. Forward planning and kind of doing priority lists is a great way to pace, because it essentially just allows us to try and reduce that post-exertion malaise, like reduce having that experience, and that boom and bust is one of the most common kind of perpetuating factors for these conditions. It's one of the reasons why people aren't getting better. An example of forward planning, and I'm sure we all know what forward planning is, perhaps it's, rather than going, okay, I'm out on Thursday and I have an appointment to get to while I'm outside the house, and I'm in that kind of area, shops and things like that, you go, I'll get some grocery shopping done. In this context, chronic fatigue syndrome, that might not actually be the best way to do things, because we've gone into an appointment and perhaps it's a psychology appointment and there's a high emotional and cognitive load of that. You're talking, you're taking on information, you're learning things, and then you're going to do the grocery shopping, and while there's a physical element to that, there's also a cognitive element. You're planning, you're choosing your groceries. If you haven't made a list, you're maybe thinking about what things to buy, and perhaps a better way to do that might be like, okay, I've got that appointment, I'm going to use a fair bit of energy on that. Perhaps I come home and then I go out for a different trip to the grocery shops. Now that isn't always the most, time efficient, but if we do that, the kind of end result is that we have a better spread of energy and we feel better across the week, and rather than getting 80% of the things we need to do on one day and then just being wiped for a few days, we can spread our stuff across the days and perhaps get a high percentage of things done. So this is a really effective way to pace. Now, I know forward planning and priority lists and things like that, they're not always going to work for everyone. We all have different brains and different ways of doing things. People who are neurodiverse, that might be more of a challenge. So I kind of want to acknowledge that and not just say it's the same for everyone. Everyone should do the same thing. I still think it's worth giving a shot. But basically that's forward planning and its benefits in helping invisible illnesses. Thanks for watching.